Hi there, this is Paula from Deltek, and these are some of the changes we made to Replicon and Polaris in Q2 of 2024. We added several new features to Polaris's resourcing functionality last quarter. First and foremost, we updated the quick allocation and resource plan pages so that actuals display for all customers. Previously, we only showed actuals if the resource who recorded the time used a role that matched the role assigned to the task. In general, we recommend that these roles match, since that allows you to predict costs more accurately. So for actuals to display, we required that resource and task roles matched. But for some customers, roles don't matter, or they record hours at the project level. For those customers, actuals never displayed. So we've now lifted the task role requirements, so now actuals display in all cases. Project managers can now request one or more preferred resources by name when submitting a resource request in Polaris. They can also set the importance of the preferred user criterion relative to the importance of other request parameters. When viewing candidates in Smart Match, resource managers can choose to display only preferred users or all users listed according to how well they match other request criteria. In the latter case, a star displays beside any preferred resources in the list so they can be easily identified. Project managers can now hide resource availability percentages when allocating using the resource plan page. By hiding this data, users who don't need it don't have to wait for it to load. To hide data, simply click this icon. Note, if your company never requires availability data, consider disabling the availability permission to remove that data for all projects. Also in Q2, we added the following new expense features to Polaris. Project managers can now break each project's budget into resource and expense costs. On the financials card, we now offer a field for resource cost and one for expense cost, plus the existing budget cost field. The budget cost field is now uneditable, since it's automatically calculated from the expense and project budgets you enter. Project managers can now distribute a project's expense estimate across all project expense codes and across all months of the project. This can help managers track the funds available in different expense categories and help ensure their budget will stretch across the length of the project. And a Show Actuals field is now available, so you can view the actual costs incurred for each expense code each month, making it easy to account for costs. Previously, expense codes like airfare, hotel, or meals could only be marked as billable or non-billable by end users within an expense sheet. But now, project managers can assign a billable status to each expense code when they add it to a project, using the expenses card. Pre-assigning billable status can reduce classification errors, assist in budgeting, and help ensure all billable expenses get billed. Project managers can now apply a markup percentage to each billable or billable/non-billable expense code they assign to a project, which can help them manage markup during billing. The markup amounts are automatically copied to the expenses billing type on the bill plan card, and you can use that markup amount when billing the client. In addition to the resourcing and expense-related changes we made in Polaris, we also made a few other small changes. In Polaris, we've gathered all the billing default settings onto the client billing card, and we've added two new default fields, description and notes. Locating all these settings in one place should save time during bill creation. In Replicon and Polaris, project managers can now be required to include comments when reopening timesheets. Including comments helps timesheet owners understand how to fix the timesheet before resubmitting. And finally, in Replicon, we added 3 new columns to the time workbench: punch ID, entry ID, and distributed time type. Refer to the release notes for details on how these can help customers who export time data.